Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about passive income. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, what do you think about passive income, affiliate programs, and how to set these sorts of things up? So this question is, I suspect, a very popular question because this is, well, the dream for more than half the world, I suppose, to be able to do absolutely nothing, or rather to make an initial investment and then have something just tick cash for you pretty much without you working for it or investing any more into it. So I do know more than a few people who actually have this sort of lifestyle where they have a few things that they have done in the past, a few projects that they've set up that turned out successful, and these days they are actually making some decent living from just having this around. Now, they're not rich or anything like that, because this idea some people might have that setting up passive income that is rather having a business that is so successful that you can just pretty much live a luxury lifestyle without working or like investing into it is really hard. Like, it's really hard to get to that level, and it's likely that you're gonna have to work for quite some time before you can build up a business to that point. And then you also emotionally have to, after all of that investment, want to hand over the management of that said company to somebody else, because that's usually how you would do something like that. You start it, you build it, you hire managers, and then you move on to the next thing, right? But at smaller scale, when you're the only person most likely working, it's easier. So in general today, the simplest way to achieve passive income is either through retailing already existing products from countries that produce this in a cheap manner. Such as China is a very popular place, where if you can find a market that feels fairly approachable for you, usually when tech people are involved, there are small-time electronics or things of this nature, but it's not exclusive to this sort of thing. You can pretty much have recommendation applications that recommend different gifts, which is it's actually one of the people that I went to school with. He was my teacher at that point. He has that set up for him years ago. It's not an amazing application in any way. All it does is that it recommends different possible gifts based on categories and such stuff like that. So that's also an approach, just to give some type of incentive for using your application. If you do that, you can do that through many different channels. I mean, all these different price comparison sites is pretty much the same thing. They're just recommending different things and getting people to, showing people options to different things. His approach is, as I said, just, okay, this could be a nice gift. And it's such a small thing. It's basically the same thing. It's just that it gives the user an incentive to use his system rather than somebody else's, just because of the way he branded that approach. So let's see here, retailing, marking up some stuff that you buy cheaply from other countries. You can also, apart from electronics, having things like natural remedies or like makeup or things of this nature. These sorts of consumer goods are very simple to set up, or cheap watches that you can sell as well. I have friends who sell those online as well through an application that they built years ago. And these sorts of things, these small business types of things, is fairly straightforward to get off the ground. I have an old coworker. He sells wallpaper. He has a web shop where basically that's what he does. It's a simple web shop where pretty much you can go and you can look at pictures of different types of wallpaper, and then you can get them delivered home. And he doesn't really have to do much. He has a co-founder that is actively, or at least part-time, just trying to acquire new customers because he wants to grow that business. But for him, it's pretty much passive income. He doesn't really have to do much with it because he gets orders, and the shipping companies or the manufacturers, they take care of all the shipping and so forth. And this structure is very similar. It's the base idea of all of these different flight booking companies that have websites where you can search for flights and stuff like this, and as I said, the price runners or like the price comparison sites. The basic idea is very simple, and you can do this as well, even at small scale. The issue that you may have is the marketing part, because trust me, you're not the first person to think of this idea. So getting your brand out there and promoting it and doing all of these things is the sort of thing that might take some time. Now, the simplest way to make a successful, at least from, I mean, I work for such a company who has that basic idea, and pretty much all the new startups these days have, well, not all of them, but it's a very popular, let's just call it that, a very popular approach to achieving this higher level of success when you want to set something up for passive income is through an aggregation product. You don't even have, it doesn't have to be, this question is focused on passive income, but it doesn't have to be focused on passive income. I mean, even if you want to build something really, really big, like a successful company, this base idea is it's a very solid idea. I call these aggregation services. So an aggregation service is simply a way for a person who, like, I mean, the modern consumer on the internet today, they have tons and tons and tons of different services and websites and needs that are scattered across a vast ecosystem of different companies and brands and so forth. And if you can figure out a way to identify a category or a need for these people and then aggregate all of that together into one single source, then you have a solid idea, or at least the beginning of a solid idea, because ideas, I mean, everybody has an idea, but execution is everything. And that basic idea is pretty much, at a high level, this is exactly this is what Google does, like the search engine. This is what Spotify does. This is what Netflix does. This is what, my company does as well. And it's the simplest way for you to gather people to your brand, or to create this experience. It's by far the simplest way. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you want to set up passive income, you can absolutely do this. It's actually not that hard. It's just that it's going to take you some time to invest into it. And you need to have some type of idea of how to get your brand out there. That is the tricky part, to get exposure. But if you can identify the thing that is going to be easiest for you to set up, and usually these things are things such as you're part of an affiliate program, or you are retailing cheap products. Basically, you're buying things from, say, China, for example, shipping them over and then selling them at a markup. And that's pretty much, I mean, then you don't really have to do anything apart from shipping, maybe. And finally, consider the value that you are going to bring to the user, because trust me, you're not alone. Everybody's selling something these days. So in order for you to have people come to your specific shop, you need to figure out what incentive you can give. Either you can do as one of my old teachers. He basically just tweaks a price comparison site and makes it and brands it as a gift finding shop, where you can find gifts for different family members. So you can basically say, I want something for my dad or my mom or my children or something like that, and then it recommends based on that, an emotional type of thing. Or you can do the thing that most of quite a lot of the successful startups are doing today, which is aggregation services, where you just figure out a way to simplify the searching for consumer goods to narrow that down, to make it possible for a person to find pretty much whatever they could possibly want in one single source. And that is pretty much how the really, really big affiliate systems work. It's convenience. It's all about convenience. Have a great day.